Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to the channel. You can see we've got the OBS behind us and might notice something a little different. The wheels are on it. Man, those look good. So we finally got our wheels in. We got the front up in the air, but you can see in the rear how that's going to look because we've got the back end sitting down. Super excited to sit this thing on the ground. Did want to start out by saying we really appreciate all you guys. Been getting a lot of love, and we appreciate that a lot. We're trying to drive some traffic over here to YouTube. We can see the channel growing. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, across those platforms. 10 million views last month. We're halfway to that this month. Getting a ton of views there. We're trying to drive some of that traffic over here. So please, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Like the video. Definitely helps us out to be able to keep doing these videos. Send it to a friend. Also, shirts on the website. We got all of our shirts restocked, so they're over there. Every time we post one of these videos, we seem to have a lot of shirts going out the door. Also, we've got the new KruSled shirt. Check that out. We did a front print on this one. I'm not really a front print kind of guy. I like it on the back, but we had some requests for them, so we went ahead and made a run for some front prints. This is kind of a NASCAR inspired kind of shirt, especially with it being on the front, but we debuted KruSled at Talladega. So we've got Talladega in the background, we've got Dega on here. This is our 20th year, so we've also our 20th anniversary shirt. So it's a really cool shirt. Kids seem to like it, but we are going to do a rear print, so keep an eye on that. Also, as opposed to having to go over to the website now, there is a YouTube store. So if you look right below this video, you should see all the shirts right along through there where you can go through, click on that. Also, we were able to put our decals, and I think we've got some other random stuff left over like coffee mugs, stuff like that. So check that out. That stuff helps as well. So here's what we're doing today. I didn't intend to make a video today. It's Saturday. Been swimming with the kids. We're grilling out. But I am trying to get the wheels on the truck, and we ran into a little bit of an issue. Not a huge deal. KRNC Forged are the ones that built the wheels for us. So I sent them my design. We were able to build them. I wanted that slanted spoke type look, but we also put some inserts in those spokes. We slanted them a little more than some of the other wheels you see, so we'll get up tight to those, and you'll be able to check all of that out. But when I sent my measurements over, one measurement ended up being wrong. They didn't get it quite to the spec that I had sent over. Not a big deal, because as soon as I told them that, immediately said that they would take care of it. We could send them back. They'll credit it to us so we can take it to a machine shop, or they'll even credit us back if we decide to do it ourselves. So it's really nice to be able to have a company that, they jumped right on taking care of that, and I absolutely love it. But I'll tell you the great thing about KRNC Forged and their wheels, and this is where I think it's a game changer. If you're looking for a wheel for a build, and maybe you've got an idea of something you want, if you can sketch it out on a napkin, they can build it for you. They'll do a rendering, they'll send it back to you, you can approve it. So all you have to do is be able to sketch out what you want, and they will, I'm telling you, the prices, they're going to beat the prices of all the big brands, and you're going to get a one-off wheel that you designed. So I can't say enough about those guys, and then it really did it for me when I called them. We had the little bit of a fitment issue, and they were right on board to take care of it, no questions asked. And I can tell you with a wheel, when you get a wheel in and it's not right, you don't find many that want to help out, I guess you'd say. So can't say enough good things about these guys. So what ended up happening was all the measurements are exactly what I sent except for the hub opening. So the hub opening is a little more narrow than what I sent in, and what we think happened was when they outsourced to their company that actually machines out the wheel, we think that company might have just went off of an OE spec. And so like I said, it's not a big deal. They're not off a lot. We just have to take a little bit out of the inside hub. Like we've got to take about an 1/8 inch, maybe about a 1/4 inch deep, just because there's a little lip on the front, which I'll show you in just a second. So here's what we're doing. I was kind of skeptical to make this video or not. We don't have a lathe or anything here. We'd have a machinist that we would send it out to and have them open it up. And then I got to thinking, all the wheels that we use and these as well, when you mount them, they're centered off of the lug nut openings. You'll notice if you look in the hole, there's a little bevel in the wheel, and your lug nuts are also beveled. So as you tighten those down, they center and get where they're supposed to be off of the lug nuts, not off the hub. Now, if you're going to do this, and maybe it's an older wheel, because we used to do what I'm going to show you a lot, if you've got a factory wheel, some of those might center off the hub opening. I don't know. So that's where you'll have to do the research to make sure that what you're doing is safe. That's the biggest thing. Just be safe about it. Also, if you're taking anything out of metal, like if we're taking a little bit out of this center hub opening, you want to maybe check with a wheel manufacturer and make sure that what you're taking out of that wheel is safe. I know with the other wheels we have here and pulling some measurements that we're in the ballpark, that we're not going to have any issues there, that we have enough material left that it's not going to be a big deal at all. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to open this center hole up with a router. So we're going to hop right into it. It's not going to be a super long video, but I'm going to show you how you can make this work if you don't have the equipment, don't have a machine shop, maybe don't have the money to send it out to a guy with a machine shop, whatever the case may be. We used to find wheels in junkyards all the time, and then the wheels wouldn't fit on the truck, mainly due to the hub opening. So this is just something we used to do back then. If you're accurate with it, it's no big deal. So it's enough talking. Let's get at it. All right, so you can see we got the wheel off on the passenger side. So if we look at the hub, here's where our wheel would mount. We've got the rotor. This is the mounting surface right here. Here's our hub. And you can see right at the end, we've got just a little kick up. So all of this fits perfectly, but when we get to that kick up, we start to hit where the bevel of the wheel is. So what we need to do is we need to take out just a little bit of material to be able to clear that step up. So if we look at the back of the wheel, you can see this is our hub opening. We've got a nice little bevel right here. And pretty much what we need to do is go over to the start of this bevel where the mounting surface is, but just go in about 1/4 inch deep. So you can see we don't have to take out much, just a little bit, just to be able to get that to clear. All right, so we've got the other 3 wheels done, pretty simple and easy. So what we're using for this is pretty much just a standard router. This one is an adjustable speed, so we've got it on 3. We're not running it too crazy. We've got a router bit in here. This is actually the one that we're using. This is a cheaper router bit. I found that these actually work really good for chewing through the aluminum. It is a wood bit, and I've used some of the metal cutting bits, but I found that this one actually works really well. The only thing with this is we don't need to take out too much material. So this one is already set up to take out 1/2 inch of material. And if you're not familiar with any of this, you can see that bearing up top. So you can see the distance from the bearing to the end of the router bit, and that's 1/2 inch. So that's way more than we want to take out. If we look over here at our Mobile Solutions bit kit, we've got a lot of different size bearings. So these bearings will fit onto that router bit I just showed you, and we're using the 1/4 inch bearing, and that's what's going to ride on it to keep it true. So you can see right here on this one, that's our bearing. So now that's 1/4 inch distance between the edge of that router bit to the bearing. So what this is going to do, it's going to eat into the aluminum until the bearing touches the wheel. Once that bearing touches the wheel, it's going to continue to spin, and that's going to be our guide where we'll cut it out all the way around the wheel, and that's going to keep this true to 1/4 inch. That way you're just not in there just chewing out rim and not knowing how far you're going. So with this, you can do 7/16 all the way down to flush, 1/16, 8, 3/16. So there's a lot of different options for your bearings. So we just need to do it now. So one of the important things with this is we're using a rabbiting bit. So that's pretty much the only thing that I found that you want to use when you do this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in there to the wheel. We're going to get this set up. I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. So with this router, pretty easy for adjustment. So we've got this lever right here. That's what's going to adjust the platform. That way we get the depth for how deep we want to cut. This is how deep we're going to end up cutting it. We're going to go pretty much the whole width of this router bit, but we don't want to start there because that's trying to chew up too much material. Even though aluminum's soft and this will eat into the aluminum really nicely, as you'll see here pretty soon, we want to go a little bit at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it to where we're just taking away maybe about 1/8. Going to lock that back down, and then we're going to chew into it, and we're just going to ride the center. One of the most important things you can do right here, if you go get an aluminum bit, like I said, they work really well, but aluminum is soft. Even though that's a wood bit, you're going to see that it goes through it like it's nothing. But we want to make sure to use a good cutting fluid. So we've got our cutting fluid, what we use on our drill bits. We're going to lube up the bit, we're going to lube up the wheel, and then we're going to go at it. Need to find my safety glasses. All right, one other thing you can do if you're uncomfortable with this, because there's going to be aluminum shavings everywhere. So obviously if you get them on the wheel, you could potentially rub them in the wheel and scratch the wheel. As long as you're not rubbing into it, there's nothing that you really have to worry about. As soon as we do this, we're going to blow everything off with air. We're not going to have to worry about it. But if you are worried about it, tape it up, protect it. That way there's no chance. I've done this enough that I know we're going to get it blown off. We're going to clean it. I know that we don't have to take the time to do that. No different than if it were in a CNC and it's making all those shavings. If you'll watch those videos, as soon as they're done, they blow it off. No big deal. So now we've got some oil on the wheel. We're going to put some oil all over our bit. All right, so it might try to grab on you. One thing that I noticed with a couple of other videos, typically if I'm going to do a video on something, I'll research somebody else's. I just kind of look for what maybe they didn't show, what did they miss, something like that to make sure I'm getting everything in here. And typically, they don't show this part. They don't show the routering part of it. It might try to catch on you here or there. It's no big deal. If you feel it catch, just get away from it. We're going to easily go back into it. So we're going to fire it up. We're going to pull the trigger where we have it pretty much in the middle right now. So we're going to fire it up, and then we're going to slowly move it toward the wheel. We're going to let it eat into one spot. Once we feel that we're not going any further, that means we're riding against the bearing. And then we're going to start making our way around the wheel. Right there, we're touching rim right there. All right, so we've went as far as we can go. We're not eating in anymore, so we're riding against the bearing. So we're going to slowly start moving it. I wanted to pull off for just a second so you could see what we're doing here. You can see right there is where we started into it. You can see when we finally got over to where the bearing was touching, which is 1/4 inch. And we made a pass along through here. You can see how nice of a cut that is, how true it is. It's super clean. And we're just going to continue this all the way around. Once we get around, we'll drop that bit down a little further and we'll eat into it again. The only thing I find is if you try to do it all at one time, that's when it wants to grab on you a little more. So you can see how quick that was. We were on that for 3 or 4 seconds, you know. So it's really quick and simple. So just take it a little bit at a time. So now that we've stopped and we're restarting it, I'm going to fire it back up and I'm going to go back into our cut and then move into it. So we're against the bearing. how nice of a cut we made. So that's where it's really important to have the correct bearing on there, because that bearing is riding against this wall and it's only allowing that bit to go so far. So it's a nice true cut. All right, so I just made another pass, but I forgot to press record. So all I did on that pass that we just made, so you can see right here, we've made another one where we dropped it just about another 1/8 of an inch. I had it about half of the router blade. So now what I've done is I've lowered it where we've got pretty much the whole blade that we're cutting now. So we just want to take that slow. The times it only tends to catch is when you're trying to eat it all at once. So as long as we just drop it down, that router blade seems to cut really nice. So you can really see now how much we've taken out right there, how nice of a cut that is. So we might still have to go just a hair more, but let's go test fit. Like a glove. So you can see now we're flat on the mounting surface all the way around. Got a little bit of extra clearance in there. We went just a little bit too much. So now we're ready to make sure we've got that good and clean. Lug nuts, center cap, get it on the ground. All right, so I pulled it back off, hit it with some compressed air, made sure we've got all the aluminum shavings out of it. So here's what's left over. Got a big pile of aluminum. You know, did 4 wheels, so I have a lot of aluminum. But you guys saw how easy that was. That was probably 10 minutes worth of routering. I showed the actual routering. Didn't grab one time. Nothing crazy happened. It's really easy to do as long as you take your time, keep it lubed up. And I think the biggest part of this is just doing a little bit of math to know which bearing you need to run. Because if you're running a bearing on it, you know you're staying consistent. It's about as true as you're going to get, besides actually having a lathe and being able to really be precise. But with what we're doing, since we're centered off of lug nuts, we're not centered off the hub, it does not have to be absolutely perfect. We just need to clear the hub. So what I did was, with the math that I used and the bearing that we used, we have the same amount of width clearing that step up as we do the wheel on the skinnier part of the hub. So we kept it all consistent right there. Really easy, knocked it out. I think what we need to do now is let's get this thing outside in the sun and take a look at it. Been waiting on these wheels a while, and whew, man, it looks so good. they look so good. I couldn't be happier with the way they turned out. KRNC Forged really knocked it out of the park with those. So I sent them over that design that I wanted. They end up doing a rendering in-house. I loved how the rendering looked, so then they got them cut. Unfortunately, we did have the little issue with the hub, but you see that's not a big deal at all, and it happens sometimes. But we were able to knock that out just with a little router work. Now, is that necessarily the right way to do it? No, it's not, but this is catered a lot toward the guy at home in his garage that doesn't have a machinist, doesn't have a lathe. What are you gonna do? You don't have a buddy that can help you out with it. So, you know, basic tools you can get at the hardware store, a little bit of math so you're actually doing it the proper way, and as long as you got the bearings as a guide, you're getting a really precise router. So with that, when you're cutting aluminum, obviously just run it slow, get it lubed up, and you see how easy it is. But as always, we really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps somebody. I know we did this a lot back in the day. It wasn't really with these aluminum wheels we were getting. I believe, you know, when we were doing a lot of the mini truck stuff, there was, I don't know if it was Z71 wheels or it was a Suzu wheels, I think. I can't remember what we were swapping them to, but you could go get them at the junkyard. They look really cool on a mini. They had a pretty, you know, traditional bolt pattern, but the hub was always different, and we had to router out a little bit of that to be able to get them to fit the truck. So that's kind of how I came about that a long time ago. I don't do a lot of this anymore, obviously, and typically if we did, we'd send it back and we'd have them machine it, but thought this was just a good opportunity to kind of show you, like, you can do it, and you can do it with some pretty simple stuff. So anyway, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. All the t-shirts should be below this video. Also, head over to the website. We've got some merch over there as well, and we'll see you on the next one.